Hey, what's good guys? This is Chris from WearTesters.com. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we're taking a look at these guys right here. This was surprisingly highly requested that we take care of the Nike LeBron 16 lows, despite the fact that the regular LeBron 16s are basically lows. Now these guys right here are one of my favorite shoes. I think that they're fantastic. Again, I don't understand the concept of having a low. I mean, they're already, the collar heights are the same. I don't really get that. Maybe these sit just a tad bit lower. These are already a low top. However, they don't have the accordion tongue thing, which is kind of what was pressing into my ankles and all that stuff in the other versions. And I've had lots of people that have been requesting these, saying that supposedly these are just way better than the mids. I don't know how, but that's just what they're saying. It's what they're saying. The only thing that I can think of is that these fit way tighter than those do. I feel like both of them are true to size, so whatever size you normally wear in Nike products or just your size in general, that's what I would go with. I will say though, these are a little bit more snug. The rear section are a lot more padded inside, a lot more sculpted, so it kind of feels like it pushes your foot up to the front just a titch more. And then the overall shape is one piece, like the upper and stuff. It doesn't have a lot of stretch. It's got a little bit of stretch at the tongue so you can get in there, which it's still difficult, but has a little bit of stretch there. But other than that, it's basically like a compression style fit as far as the build is concerned. So maybe those are the two kind of areas that people are talking about, because everything else on the shoe is literally identical to the mid-top version. Now this colorway is actually, I think it's really cool. There was two versions of these that I thought were awesome. The original colorway with the Vachetta tan leather backing or whatever, I thought that those were whack. And then there, I can't remember what they were called, the Draft Days? I think I was the one that called them the Draft Days. But they were like all white, a little bit of red. They had a Nike Air in gold on the heel. I thought that those looked fantastic. They also had a translucent sole, which these do not. And then when I saw both of these and those side by side in person at the store, I was kind of like, man, I kind of like these ones more, which is really weird. I don't normally do that. Normally I have my heart set on something, I go and I get that thing. This was one of the very few times when I've seen them both together side by side in person, and I changed my mind. It was super weird. But people have been calling these the Super Bron or Super LeBron low tops, and they're actually not. This is a McDonald's All-American tribute shoe, which is really cool, which you can actually see right there in the rear. 2003 MVP, which LeBron was during his high school All-American McDonald's game, and he wore the number 32. Now, obviously the colors on these guys is directly a play on the All-American McDonald's game jerseys or uniforms and all that stuff. They pretty much have the same color combo almost every year. They do look like Superman colors though as well. Superman wears these three colors, and so it's also obvious of that. They're also a little kind of like point to, intentionally or not, like the Philippines, they have these same colors on their flag, which is really cool. So shout out to all of our Philippine or Filipino followers, because we really appreciate you guys over there. Now the materials on these are different. It's not BattleKnit 2.0. So you can see the BattleKnit 2.0 right here on the regular version. This version right here is basically a textile, and then it's got some overlay stitching on top of that for reinforcement. Kind of reminds me of the screen printing look that they have on the current Spider-Man film suits. And then the lacing system is obviously a lot different. You have semi-traditional lacing right here, with the exception of like this small section, and this section right here is kind of what they've done on the entire shoe, which I think is very weird. I don't know if I like this personally. I'll find out once I play in it, but just initially it's kind of like, I'm like, what is this? I don't like it right now, but that can change once I play in it. The rear panels are definitely similar. However, they removed that stupid ass lion, which I'm so happy about. They did put it in this little jewel logo right there, but I'm not mad about that. I think that size, that style, that's perfect for something kind of cheesy like that. You give a little bit of it, but not too much. And then the leather that they used on the rear, they actually put a little bit of it right there on the tongue as well as on the toe area. And I think that those just visually look appealing to me. Like, I think that these look amazing. The tech specs on these guys are the same, like I was saying, as the regular version. So Phylon midsole, that articulated max zoom unit right there, but it's full length and all that stuff with the exception of the toe. All of that rubber, the aggressive herringbone, very thick as well. This is one of those shoes where typically I don't recommend exposed air units for outdoors, but this particular shoe is perfect for outdoors for two reasons. The first reason is that there's ample cushion in these guys. The second reason is the rubber on on these things is super thick, and it's a lot firmer than a lot of the stuff that we see on shelves today. So this is a lot harder of a rubber than, if we're gonna look back here, it's a lot harder than any of these shoes, maybe with the exception of the Dames. And so in my opinion, that makes these like an ideal candidate to wear these outside. And then they do happen to have this little plastic or TPU clip right here on the heel. I'm not sure if that's for heel stability on the upper section of the heel, or if it's just to stabilize the midsole, because they are low tops. So with all of this cushion, maybe they don't want too much compression underfoot. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. There is one little section of quality control right here on the laces. It's not a super big deal or anything, but like there's all this weird foam glued to my laces. So I don't know if like inside of these layers, if there's blue foam and they just happen to thread it through, and maybe it ripped some of it off and adhered itself to my laces. But yeah, it's super sticky. I feel like I gotta wash my hands. But it is very similar to the insole material, which is like a light blue ortholite, super fluffy and all that stuff. So maybe some of that got stuck on here. I don't really know what the deal is, but it's very strange. I've never seen like foam glued to laces before. So that's a first for me. And that pretty much takes care of it for these guys. I will be playing in them. It should be a short run just because I have played in the mid tops many times before. Again, it's one of my favorite shoes of the year. I'm hoping that these are better because everybody's been saying how much better they are. So I hope that I don't like letting in that type of noise in my head right before I test something, because then like either I have like too high of expectations or too low of expectations. I don't just get to go in there and do what I normally do. So hopefully that doesn't affect my mentality. But for all I know, maybe I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna be like, they're right. These are way better than the mids. I don't really know. All I know is that so far I like the way that they feel like around my foot, but otherwise I don't feel that they're like exponentially better or anything in one way or the other. So that's what testing them on court will do. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for your support. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for the performance review whenever that comes. And until next time, guys, have a good one.
I think it's interesting that people who already have purchased the lows and say that they love them are still messaging you saying, I need your take on it.
It's weird. But over the years, I've learned that like reviews are multi-purposeful. Like some people buy something and then they want validation of the purchase, whether they are already using it or not, because it goes both ways. Sometimes people buy something, they don't use it, and they're waiting for the review.
I get that. They're excited, so they want to like read and see everything about it. Yeah,
and then other people, they love something, and so they want to share that love of that something with others, and it might not be like their friends might not be going out and buying all of the same shoes as them. It's expensive.
Right.
And so maybe they're wanting someone like myself or another reviewer to do that. It's the same thing in the comments where people are like, oh, you're lucky, like towards me, that there's you, where I can actually talk to. You know what I'm saying?
You are lucky.
Let's not stroke her ego that hard. But I'm just saying, like, those people are like, hey, like...
No, it's very cool. I understand wanting... Like, that's me with my books, and I'll be like, I need somebody to talk to about this. So sit there for 20 minutes while I'm like...
Correct. That's the thing. So I think it's about that.
Yeah.
You know, the only part about it that I don't like personally is just because again, like I was explaining earlier, like I don't like to read or watch reviews on something that I haven't, like if I have no plans on testing it, then great. I'll appreciate everybody else's take on them and stuff like that. But if I don't want their opinion to kind of like filter my opinion. Kind of like when you watch a movie, or like before you watch a movie, like if you're not a spoilers person,
yeah,
like you have to like stay off the internet for like certain movie events.
Right.
And it's kind of like that with shoes, where like I'm not trying to be rude, I just don't want anybody's take to mess with my take, you know what I mean? And I would understand if it's the same like the other way around, where like they're doing their thing, they're testing, we can talk about it afterwards, because I'll do that with like other people, like the Soul Brothers, like they'll hit me up and be like, hey, what do you, or I'll hit them up and be like, yo, I love those, like right now they're testing the CP3s. I love that shoe, surprisingly. I didn't think I was even gonna make it past the first wear, and after it was a super quick break-in, I'm not gonna go too far into it, but just know that I love that shoe. It's like kind of like a shock to me, because like they're so cheap. Cheap is relative, but like they're $100. Yeah, and so like I already know my thoughts, and so like I was like, yo, you know, and so I guess in that sense I feel a little bit bad because then I kind of pushed my thoughts onto them unintentionally, but it's the same thing as what we were talking about earlier where I'm excited about that shoe. I liked how they played. I was surprised, and now they're experiencing the same shoe, and maybe they're experiencing the same thing or maybe not, but either way I'm like, hey, these are fire, you know what I'm saying? Like they're on court, they're awesome. So like it's the same thing. And so in that sense, like I like, that's what I like about this whole space is that yes, there's a lot of trolls, yes, there's a lot of dumbasses, but
there's also a lot of
there's
cool
so
people.
many cool people, yeah, that it's just like, that's the coolest part about just social media, building a website, building a YouTube channel, being on Instagram, whatever it is that you get to, by your choice, you get to filter out the noise and just focus on finding people like you, like-minded individuals. You don't always have to agree, that's not what this is about, but really finding people that enjoy just the overall subject matter the same that you do. Those are the fun things.